Hello, Foxy.
Hello, CEAZOR.
What you doing?
Nothing much. Just helping my friends. I asked my other friend to help my friends, to help me, help him, and help my other friends.
Huh?
No worries. What you doing?
Oh, I'm just eating this sandwich I found under the couch.
Hello and welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. Today we're on Ethereum taking a look at Yearn's DAI Vault, the version 2 DAI Vault. Now, Polpy here, he tweeted this here, and it's quite a long thread talking about how the Yearn version 2 Vault has upgraded and done some pretty interesting things. Now, you can definitely read this, and I will link to it in the description below, and come through and read this. But I'm going to explain basically what it is, and I'm going to use a flowchart to do so. So let's get right in there and do that immediately. Okay, so here we are, and here we have Dollar Bill, and he wants to put his money in the version 2 DAI Vault. He has some DAI, he wants to put it in there. Now, I did a video about this recently, and it had 4 strategies. Now, I'm going to link to that video in the cards at the end of this video, and you can watch that to get a better understanding of the first 4 strategies. But I'm going to go quickly through them anyways and just give a quick little summary of the first 4 strategies, and then show you the new 2 strategies that have come out since that time. Okay, so let's go to the first one. First one's very simple. Just take the DAI, lend it to these other 2 protocols, and or maybe a third one, or any other protocol that they feel they want to lend it to, and gain some interest from people who borrow DAI. Okay, that's simple. General lender. The second one is Alpha Homora version 2, so basically lending it to Alpha Homora, and people can come here and borrow the DAI from here to build LPs and leverage into LPs. Okay, so next one is a leverage compound. So this is a complicated one, and basically what they do is they take some of the DAI they have and they put it in compound, but at the same time they initiate a flash loan from yvDAI. So they get like 4 million inside here, and they leverage it up and they gain a whole bunch of comp tokens and sell them for DAI. Now, I explained this very well in that other video, so you can watch that video if you really don't understand what's going on here. The next one is the Iron Bank leverage thing. Now, this is the most important thing that I will talk about today. I already talked about this a little bit in the other video, so I'll just quickly explain it here. And that is, they borrow money from Iron Bank. They don't need to have any collateral in Iron Bank, because Iron Bank authorizes certain contracts to borrow money without collateral. So they borrow some money from collateral from Iron Bank, and they use it to leverage in. Instead of doing this in, out, in, out, in, out, or instead of doing a flash loan, they borrow some and they put the full amount in, and they again farm comp tokens, sell them to Uni for DAI, and put them back into the strategy. And now, like I said, I explain all 4 of these, and I will link to the card at the end of the video. So if you don't understand all of these steps, please watch that other video and then come back and watch this one. So on to the new stuff, the good stuff. The first thing that they've added is an idle DAI Vault. Now, I've also made a video about idle and how this idle protocol works in a vault. And basically, it's just a way they lend it, and because they give it to idle, they are able to farm both comp and idle tokens, which they can sell for at Uni for more DAI, and again, circle it around. Now, I did a video on this, and I'll link to that in the final cards as well. Now, for the good stuff, the very interesting stuff. It's called single-sided curve DAI. So they take the DAI and they stick it into Curve Finance. Now, why are they doing this? Because they want to farm curve tokens on one of the curve pools. So they're building a curve liquidity pool. Now, if you don't understand how curve works, I've made a video on that as well. I made a video about curve LPs. I'll put a link to it in the description, and maybe I might be able to figure out how to put 3 at the end of this video. So they use the DAI, they stick it into curve, and they're able to farm curve tokens. Okay, now when they sell these curve tokens for more DAI, it goes back inside. Very simple, very straightforward. But the interesting thing is the pool that they're actually sticking it into, the curve pool. It's an Iron Bank curve pool. When they stick the DAI in here, the DAI gets converted into an Iron Bank yield-bearing token. So that gives Iron Bank some more liquidity. So they're boosting the liquidity inside Iron Bank so that there's more to borrow. Because this is one of the problems why they can't borrow very much money from Iron Bank, because there's not enough money there to borrow. Otherwise, they would borrow more. However, by putting the DAI into this curve pool, they are in essence adding to liquidity on the Iron Bank. So they're boosting this amount to that they can then borrow. So the next thing that's interesting about this is there is another Yearn strategist, and he has a vault called the Curve Iron Bank Vault, which is basically this same like LP tokens. So you could come to his vault with this LP token and he would stick it in and stick it out. So he would farm some curve tokens as well and build up these LP tokens and constantly farm them and so forth. So this is a complicated system that we would require its own video, but I've explained Curve very thoroughly in that Curve video, so you can watch that to understand it. So I think it's pretty interesting. So he has also boosted the amount of liquidity in Iron Bank in order for this strategy to borrow, to even leverage into comp even more. Now, the last thing that's very, very interesting is because Yearn Finance has the back scratcher. And if you don't know what the back scratcher is, I've got another video for that as well. And basically what it does is it gives Yearn Finance a lot of voting power and a lot of boosting power and stuff like that. They have a lot of voting power and they have a lot of boosting curve power. So all of their curve vaults get a lot of CRV tokens and they have a lot of votable power. So what what this little guy did was he voted for this pool to be heavily incentivized. So people who joined a lot of people wanted to join his vault, which then boosted this extremely. Another people, they might find out that this is actually supplying to that and boost it. And then there's a lot of third-party people who just came in and decided to add to Curve by themselves without using the earn system because the boost was very, very high. Now, I made a video on this the other day as well, so you can maybe watch that one as well. So I think this is very interesting because this is showing you how that Yearn Finance is able to use things that can't be forked. You know, people could copy all of this code and they could do these strategies themselves, but they'd be missing key features. One, they wouldn't have access to Iron Bank. Two, they won't have access to this voting power. Three, they don't have the back scratcher, which boosts all these curve rewards. And I think that's about it. And yeah, and that's it. And they also wouldn't have a whole bunch of liquidity inside the vault to perform all of these actions in a gas efficient manner. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I hope you like this. I hope you understand it. I went pretty quick. There's a lot to it. It's pretty complicated. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments below. And thanks for watching.